There we go. Blow out my eardrums.
We're live. Welcome to another edition of the Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Luca. My other co-host, Mike, is shaking his head for some reason. Hi. Go ahead and explain.
I can't fucking hear you, but whatever.
I don't know what you're saying
done.
because that music is so fucking loud.
I know. Not only that, I was telling him, I'm like, this is what's going to happen with the audio, but whatever. Yes. Hi, I'm here again. Yes, Luke's brother, co-host, one of the co-hosts. We got the original, or the A-team, as Luca calls it, back together.
Yes.
Yeah, this is exciting.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah. AJ's remote, but this is I'm here in person, and then we just got AJ doing his thing from home.
Yes, I am surrounded by the children, and I am here.
Tech issue here. So far, everything's going. Let's see the final product now.
It will, because I need Luca to be a little louder, because I can barely hear you.
Once the music stops, I think it'll be a little better.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I don't know why I sound so quiet. Oh, wait, here. Is that better?
Whisper.
Is this better when you hear me?
Nope.
Not really. But anyways, just go ahead and go into the summary. What are we talking about? Why are we here?
Well, we got the band back together because I think by far some of the earlier episodes of the series we recorded Obi-Wan, did a handful of episodes of The Mandalorian. I think we started with Obi-Wan, Andor, and holy shit, I think we had AJ on for a lot of the episodes, and by far that was our favorite. I mean, it was the best thing that Star Wars did come out with since.
Definitely the best show.
Or disagree?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't even say Star Wars. I would say like shows that I've been watching. I've just really enjoyed the hell out of Andor, and Diego Luna, and just all the different characters in it. Were really, really cool. And I've been excited that this has come back. Super sad that they're only doing 2 seasons of this. This is the final kind of chapter leading up to Rogue One. But I think it makes sense. I think, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work they put into it to get it, right. But I think that, I'm excited to be back, talking about this one. I feel like some of the other ones, it was tough to come out here and talk about them because they weren't good.
Sure.
Just flat out. And we didn't have AJ, is the other main thing. But like a lot of the other episodes were just not good. A lot of the shows were not good. They were kind of either mid or below. So I don't know. What do you guys think, AJ?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the multiple seasons there. I really feel like there's only so much content you can push out with Andor here before it's kind of just dragging the story and then kind of shoots itself in the foot as far as like the quality overall, right? Like I wouldn't want to see this go for like 5 more seasons.
Right.
We don't need that much build up to what was Rogue One. I think having it succinct enough into just a couple of seasons does it justice, and it's entertaining. It makes it a quality piece of just art in and of itself, storytelling. It kind of goes back to its roots as far as being an actual good little story that it tells, rather than typical Disney bullshit. Color by numbers that we've kind of seen, and with the other
Sydney
stuff
loves those.
Landed. It hasn't quite landed with the audience, and certainly not with us when we discussed it. So yeah, I totally agree. This is definitely the best thing that I think Star Wars has put out. Besides Rogue One, I mean, the only new movies. I liked Solo. That was okay. It was fun. But like Rogue One is head and shoulders above any other of the movies, the new Star Wars that they put out, right? That has been as far as quality. So yeah, I'm excited about this season. This is the first Star Wars thing that I've had like legitimate, sincere excitement for since probably Andor season 1, and I watched it and realized it was good. So it's been a hot minute. The Mandalorian is, I think, second to this, but that's my next favorite. That I think was a ton of fun, and its own original little story there. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this, and I have my typical notes where it's got like columns about the plot points and funny, except my everything is just under funny because I thought this first episode was a little ridiculous. I enjoyed it, I'll say that, but it was a little ridiculous. I'm sure we'll get into it.
We'll start with you. I want to hear your thoughts first, because you've it's been a long time since we've had you on, and I'm so happy to have you here for Andor.
Yeah. I'm
So
glad we got this.
take it
remote
away.
setup
What
going.
jumped out at you from the start? Because in my opinion, this episode was a little weird. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. But talk to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I want to go through it kind of, by the beats. So just the start at the very beginning, I immediately was like, oh, big booty ho. Whoever that was that they start off with, when she's investigating the thing, I'm like, this looks like a cam girl. She's got this big fat ass. She's looking good. Yeah. So I was like, big booty ho. And I turned to Kelsey and said that. And she even went, damn.
Oh my God.
So I mean, I enjoyed Big Booty Ho. I really liked the droid design of that little black and somewhat silver droid that was right outside of that what was it, test ship or whatever.
The hangar, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. It looks like a little antenna array. And then it comes to find out when she walks past it, the motherfucking thing just holds a clipboard. It's just meant to hold clipboards. It's a clipboard droid. Like, what kind of Rick and Morty, what is the purpose of my life? You pass
What is my purpose?
Droid kind of shit.
butter.
This fucking thing, it holds clipboards. So right off the bat, the visuals, it was great. I loved the sanitary kind of like extreme clean look of anything that's Imperial, right? Where it's just like, again, this like sanitized look to it. It's bright, it's shiny, it's cold. They've got the imagery going well again for what I would want to see for anything that's Imperial. They've got the look going. I just thought the beginning, the whole thing from that random Imperial person who's obviously helping the rebels to when Cassian takes off with that ship felt very like a quick abridged version of the typical like heist. Like, oh, we're getting the setup. Mm-hmm. Here's the crew. Now it's time for a little prep talk where he's like, oh, no, this is good. You're going to live. This is what it's all about. He's just cheering her on. And then it's the silly, goofy shenanigans happen. And then the typical, like the chase scene and getting away by the skin of your teeth kind of thing. Like that felt very typical Disney shit. But characters were I'm liking so far. Hearing Little Blaster characters. Yep. I'm liking. I fucking loved that Gatling laser. I want one. That thing was badass.
Yeah, where's this TIE fighter been? I mean, I feel like
I don't recognize it.
Like a TIE interceptor or something.
Yeah,
it's a TIE Advanced is what it's called.
Okay,
you get to fly one in the video game TIE fighter. As your career progresses.
The fucking thing is awesome.
Yeah. Now,
how long has this thing been in development? Maybe the Imperials would have actually won if this thing fucking was was produced. Like, look how strong that thing was. He was bouncing from cave side to cave side in that canyon, and like a normal TIE fighter would have just been blown to bits from doing that. But he was able to bounce off of the canyon walls and make it through somehow.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like a normal one, like you just fart too hard and those fucking wings on the side, they just fall right the fuck off, right? But this thing's like slamming down as he lands, and it's just like, oh, it's totally fine. He's blowing a few holes through what's supposed to be a hangar bay, door to block any in and out, right? And then just fucking rams through it. I mean, this bitch is strong. Like, this is not right. That's what I'm saying from the OG.
Yeah, normally TIE fighters are made out of tissue paper, but I mean, they sure not this one.
Like it fights. This absolutely feels like a special project that got scrapped and could have won them the goddamn war.
I know. And I don't know. I felt like TIE fighters in Andor have felt
got cut by Doge. I think this was a Doge cut.
TIE fighters have felt a little more menacing in Andor. I don't know if you guys remember in some of the other episodes. Specifically like the heist one, where they're out when Andor's outdoors in that little valley or whatever, like a TIE fighter goes flying over and just how, menacing it ends up, that's your cue to kind of hit the TIE fighter thing. What the fuck are you doing over there?
I've hit it like 4 times already.
Yeah, that noise.
There you go.
They've made him sound more menacing in Andor, than I feel like they were in the other movies. In the other movies, it was like they were flying like a paper airplane, compared to the X-wing or something like that. But this TIE fighter was really cool. This TIE Advanced, whatever Luca called it.
It's a TIE Advance, but compared to like, I wish I could have flown this one in the video game, because this one was badass. It had like a super laser on it and Gatling lasers, which I don't know why you would need the rotating barrels, like minigun style. I don't think
it looks so fucking cool though, doesn't it?
It looked badass, yeah. But compared to the one you fly in the game, yeah, it's a little bit different. And they like built this thing. That's the best part. Like, this was an actual like prop or set that they built, so that way they could walk up and walk around. And
they fucking better. Like, they can't afford that shit on their fucking $1 trillion mouse empire. They can't fucking afford to build some shit for the Star Wars IP that they own. That is like one of their most highly rated shows. Like, eat a dick if you can't build that. The fuck you can't. You've got like a monopoly on this, and you can't build this stuff. That's something I'm very appreciative of too. Is you need to have the presence of real objects. The less CG, the better. I was just rewatching what was it? The Man from Earth, a 2007 movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but essentially it's about this man. He's 14,000 years old. He's formerly a caveman. He just is. It's supposed to be science fiction, but it's all just shot in one room with a group of professors that he was working with, and they're like, "Oh, why are you leaving?" And he's like, "Yeah, I bounce every 10 years, whatever." But it's like telling this whole story. It's going through the science of it, and it's a science fiction. There's obviously no CG, but it's just excellent writing. It's excellent acting. I'll have to send you guys a link to it. You can watch it free on YouTube. But just like a great example of like, here's some science fiction where it's all in your head and you're talking about it and you're talking it through, and it's great. And it's just shot in this one room. Like, you don't fucking need CG to have a good story. CG just takes away from it. Unless you're like a 7-year-old who's like, ooh, bright lights. Like, that just takes away from anybody, the target audience, as far as like an Andor would pull in, right? Like, I get if you're doing like a TV7 show, like, all right, whatever, that's for kids, who cares? But something like this, like, I do appreciate that adds so much more presence. You look at like anything from the 80s when they're using, puppetry and stuff like that, real shadows, everything, it still holds up today. John Carpenter's The Thing, that still holds up today, right? Like, you're not
classic movie.
Yeah, it's something that I wish they would do more of, and definitely appreciate seeing it here.
So yeah, the intro, pretty badass. And then what, Mike? We move on to, I think it's Chandrilla, where you get Mon Mothma scene, right?
Yeah. That one was, I just was thinking about this episode, like, as a whole, and just how they're setting up, the aftermath. And it says, 1 year after, and then it says 4 BBYE or something like that, right? Before Yavin.
4 BBY, which is 4 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what it says, like, at the beginning of the episode.
Teach us that another time too. I couldn't remember what that meant either. How many years before our Lord and Christ and Savior? I don't understand.
Yes, exactly. Instead of BCE or AD or whatever. Yeah. So, it's a year after the events took place. Everybody, and they're just kind of showing where everybody is.
Yeah.
Where everybody's settled. Yeah. This one was a quick one, where they cut to, Mon Mothma and her family and her daughter, and they show off. I think immediately her running, with her friends to see the beautiful like wedding dress, and I really appreciate the costumes and everything. In every time you see, I mean, throughout the Star Wars, but even when they're showing off the very high-end society and everything, and like the costumes that Mon Mothma and the dresses or the whatever, and Luthen shows up, and everyone's surprised apparently, or Mon Mothma is surprised that Luthen is even at this thing, But apparently he has some sort of surprise that he's going to present, later.
Honestly, there goes Maya. The Mothma, like the whole like a Senate. A senator that's funding like this whole rebellion, and then Luthen's character themselves. I honestly think the most interesting story is this like real world applicable kind of feeling, political intrigue with her and Luthen. Like that's my favorite part, honestly, because it has the most like grounded feeling reality to it, and the actors are phenomenal for their roles. They do such a great job with like just that facial like you feel you feel it so much. Like they do
She
such
is so
fantastic,
good.
great.
Yeah, she is so good. She is so good when she's just like, even the scene where she's just like, walking and then she notices Luthen
Yes.
there, like her face when she's trying to pretend to be, she does great. It's showing being happy, and then she turns away and is like, "The fuck is this guy doing?"
I was going to say the same thing.
And then
'Cause
she's walking down the hall. She'll see people and like have this beautiful like smile at them and everything. Yeah,
Yes,
it doesn't look fake though. And then
it
like
doesn't.
as soon as he walks past them, like her face sinks again. Yeah, exactly.
It lends itself so well to just like showing those characters and the like constant stress of what that would be of playing a persona over your whole life over and over and over again. You truly do believe in something and you're fighting for that. And it's this constant like sense of dread of, are you going to get caught? Is somebody going to go back and find out what's actually going on with the foundation, my resources? Why is Luthen here? You can tell that she sees Luthen just by the face she makes. Like, it's something where you can read into it. The actors and actresses do such a phenomenal job, and it just in this first episode, but I feel like they did in the last season too. And I really enjoy that. But I think her story and Luthen connected is honestly the most interesting story. Obviously, I enjoy Cassian and everything going on there.
Yeah.
But that this is the political intrigue part of this is something that I just like. I like it the most. It really feels the most real.
Yeah. She's still, obviously this isn't her thing, to be doing something like this behind the scenes, so you could tell she's just absolutely fucking terrified. And especially when, Luthen just pops up and she's like, oh, fuck.
I'm
like,
stronger. I'm Batman.
Yes. There was that scene. There was also a quick scene. I don't know if this happened before then or after with Biggs, where they kind of show Biggs and the other crew, where she is having the nightmare.
Is it Biggs or Bix?
It's Bix, Bix.
Biggs. It's been a hot minute
is
since I heard her name, and I was like, "Am I saying it wrong? I don't
Big
remember."
Darklighter is Luke's friend from Tatooine, but Bix, Bix, she has on the planet that they're on, which was Ray something.
Come on, you're a names person.
I thought it's Mira. I can't even read my own writing. I wrote it so
write that
quickly.
shit down because I'm just relying on Luca.
I just know it's the Outer Rims. I did write Biggs.
Rims.
They're hiding in the Outer Rim, and Bix is still having nightmares from when she was tortured by the good doctor with the audio torture death rattle of children or some alien larva race.
Yeah, they cut to that Outer Rim scene, where I think she's okay. They're out in the farm, and I don't know. Do you want to take it, Luca, from there? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, they're on a farm, and they say that harvesting whatever wheat or something like that, and
space wheat. Yep.
They're space wheat. Yeah, they're posing as workers, undocumented workers. And because they say the word,
should have built a wall.
yeah, exactly. Excuse me. So they're drawing. It's a parallel that they're drawing right away to the real world, because they're like, what? They're like, Imperials are coming to check on us, because right away they see a spacecraft roll up, and they're like, they haven't been here in 20 years or whatever to come check on us. Yeah, space ice. And they're all kind of worried right away. And Bix is still kind of suffering. Wilmon is like the guy with the mustache, the curly haired, the big dude from season 1. He's Brasso. And then I think his girlfriend. Oh God, what did I draw her name or write her name down?
There's another guy, Will, right?
Wilmon, he's the mustache one, the little guy with the curly hair,
And then
his
Bila.
girlfriend Bila.
Well, it's not his girlfriend. There's a funny scene there where Bix is kind of teasing Will about Bila. She comes over and she's like, "Oh, that's an awful long way to bring some water."
But that's an important scene too, because he's like, "Hey, like her mother doesn't like me hanging around because I'm a toolie." So automatically, you could see there's a caste system of sort that's in place in this planet, even though it's in the outer rim. But that doesn't mean that people on the planet aren't sympathetic to their cause, and want to help them, because the Scottish lady that's the big dude Brasso, his girlfriend, Talia, I think is her name, if I'm not mistaken. She's like, she's like, yeah, I've been here 20 years. She's like, but we're here to help. We'll sort this out. Whatever happens. There are people that, want you here and are happy to have you here and will help in any way they can to make sure that you can be here, and stay with us. So that was kind of interesting to see that they're tugging on that thread a little bit.
That water girl walked up, and like just before then, like they're messing with that whatever hydroponics, whatever the fuck machinery that they're working on, and like
the sprinkler.
They break it open, and there's just all this goop comes out. I just immediately was like, are they? Is this like Gwyneth Paltrow's goop? Is the thing that they're using to grease these gears? Like, just, what was the goop that was coming out of, like, it's spraying water? What is this machinery jizz that's just coming out? It did not look right at all. I just immediately started thinking of Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's not WD-40. What's going on here?
That's really weird looking WD-40. I didn't understand that machinery, but whatever. Space machines.
Next scene they cut to is when back to,
Cassian.
Or do they cut to the...
It keeps going back and forth to Cassian. He eventually, he comes and he lands the stolen ship. He's expecting one of his rebel buddies to be there. He had left 3 days prior. And all of a sudden, it's a band of unfed, unwashed other rebels that they had been supplying something, weapons, what have you, to previously, that came up on their camp, shot and killed his buddy. And they're all debating clearly amongst one another over what happened that got them separated from their actual leader of their group. Some sort of altercation, fight, something with somebody. And now they haven't eaten. They're not drinking. They're clearly agitated, and almost kill Cassian. But
they think they don't know who he is. He just shows up. They don't know who he is. It seems like the contact that Cassian did have there is dead or gone now. This faction he doesn't really know closely. This part of the rebellion he doesn't really know very closely. So they don't know him either. They don't know that they're actually on the same side. But this is kind of showing you how disorganized, the rebellion is at this point. It's not a full, moving machine or anything like that. It's all these little teeny tiny little groups.
The Maya Pei brigade.
Right. You find that out later when Cassian gets some information out of the guy that's got the gun to his face. He tells him, who they were, who was in charge essentially. But now it doesn't seem like anybody's in charge. I feel it was like the Goonies or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like this band of kids just on an adventure together is how I felt. But maybe a
very violent adventure. Yeah, they didn't.
Yes.
They were very.
They
did a good job at showing that they were not very well organized at all.
Right.
And clearly, their purpose, layered with their own humanity, as far as self driven for whatever it is they may want. Some of them, accusing the others of being cowards. They already had a little bit of a faction. But within that faction of, I can side with this guy. This guy's my buddy. And others that disagree with each other. So they're already a little bit of a fractured kind of to begin with. And that whole collection from when he lands to when it culminates there close to the end of the episode, that whole thing just does a good job to show the kind of anarchy that's going on around there. And Cassian's ultimately left being dragged away as a fight explodes and they're shooting each other. and their group around that little campfire there and trying to determine what they're going to do. So it does a good job to set up just how chaotic
It's
and
funny.
tumultuous things are.
I didn't even think about this until now, but yeah, they show that, and they also show the imperial scene where they're all like, having cocktails and there's a charcuterie board set up.
Yes.
And they're discussing
Sushi.
like destruction. Yeah, they're discussing like the destruction of a planet. Like it's so the contrast between the two.
You're right.
I
Actually,
didn't realize
that is a good contrast.
Yes.
The level of control and organization versus the fractured, just disorganized chaos that is any rebel or rebellion of any kind. That they're not interconnected. They don't even know who each other are. They're at each other's throats, even within their own internal groups. They're very underfunded and undersupplied. Like it does a good job of showing what is just the chaos of any sort of beginnings of a rebellion.
Do you want to talk about the imperial scene, Luca, where they're on
the planning scene? Yeah, the name of where they're at was called the Maltene Divide, Maltheen, and I'm glad to see they brought back director Krennic. Very cool to have him in the show. And man, the conversation that they have there is fucked up. If you know, like the stuff that's going on in our world that they're talking about, because they mention that they're like, hey, what do you know about this planet Gorman? Anything? And then they say, okay, call the propaganda guys in.
This planet totally isn't Ukraine. We're not trying to just get the rights and just strip mine their country.
Right. So they're like, what have you heard about them? They're like, oh, okay, well, good. Everything you've heard has been propaganda. And they gave them their name, the Bureau of Enlightenment or Department of Enlightenment. That was their name. And I was like, holy shit. I just heard that today, that it's Bureau of Enlightenment. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Owned by the Murdochs.
Right. Then they're like, okay, we've got to harvest this calcite. It's going to destroy the planet in the progress. And then they say the word, or I'm sorry, I think at one point Krennic's like, the Emperor wants to be energy dependent or something like that. And I'm like, And I'm like, gee whiz, another parallel to our, fucking Fox News where they're like, the United States needs to be energy independent. We don't want to buy oil from anybody else. And it's like, who cares where we get our energy from? If we got to get it from somewhere else, fine. So there was that. And then they said something really fucked up, which was relocate. They're like, there's 800,000 Gormans, 9 cities. They're like, if we start mining this place, we're going to have to relocate people. And that is a direct reference to what's going on in the Middle East right now with Gaza, where the Zionist message is we either kill them or relocate them. And if nobody wants to take them, then guess what? I guess they're going to have to be killed. And it's like, wow. I wasn't expecting Disney to make that parallel, which God
is
only
Disney
knows.
Making that parallel, or do we just have some writers that are like, hey, this is what I want to write about? I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like Disney was like, you know what? We're going to make this a political piece,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they ultimately had to sign off on it, but who knows if they were looking at it that close. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. This is the writers and the creator of the show, that put this hidden message in there, or hidden meaning in there as well. So I thought it was, it just was a creepy, this creepy scene. It reminds me of The Simpsons where they're like sitting around, when it was always like Mr. Burns, like all the leaders like sitting around that like table.
Evil people, yeah.
Yes, like Dracula was there somehow.
Through this, so my favorite part was that through this whole evil people's meeting, they had an ad roll. It's like, all right, we're going to run this ad roll. It's
I was going to ask about that. What did you think about the Gorman? Yeah,
it's like watching a YouTube video, and it's got to run their ad roll though for some Gorman silk.
Yes. It's like, what are we? If we destroy this planet, what are we really losing? the best fabric in the galaxy. So what? We get this calcite material, which will create the Death Star or whatever.
Help power well, he said it's an energy source, but he's like, but we need it to coat the lenses. So apparently it's something that can withstand the energy of the
Which is
reactors in the Death Star.
Just another direct parallel to what's going on right now in supply chains. These rare earth metals that are used in engines and chips and all, like everything electronic to mitigate high temperatures and still function appropriately. I forget the name of the exact one that I'm talking about, but it's one of those ones where it's like 95% of it's produced out of China.
Cobalt?
No, not cobalt. It's like dysopiantin or some shit like that. I think it starts with a D. But anyways, doesn't matter. But another great, I loved that especially because it's like, oh yeah, it's this literal same kind of sounding thing that we need in order to resist high temperatures and engines, jet engines, shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I the other thing I liked about this episode is, so when they cut back to the Mon Mothma estate, I didn't quite see I don't quite remember what the place was that it said, or the planet or whatever it was called. I thought I wrote it down. Maybe I didn't.
They were on Chandrilla, which is the home world of Mon Mothma.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Luthen is talking with people and like he's got this like pose that he's like standing. It was fucking hysterical. And as he's standing there talking to some dude and his son is talking about like being in the Navy or whatever. And he's like, oh, really? Yes, exactly.
Where's the Navy going?
Yes, that's what he says. He starts asking him. He's like, "Oh, really? Like, where are you going to be headed out, or something like that?" So he's
Guard or something like that,
getting information and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Oh my fucking god!" I'm like, "This is awesome." I'm like, I had no idea this happened. Do you remember this part that I'm talking about? Even the way he's standing with his hands.
I loved his bug-eyed way that he moved in forward and got like 2 inches away from the kid's face. He's like, "Where the fuck are you going?"
I'm glad you guys remember this scene, but I just was dying laughing. Also there's something going on in the background too between Mothma and that other guy.
Her
the
banker.
Fuck is, yeah.
Tay Colma.
Yes, him.
The old guy with the part.
He's got some shit going on with her. It seems like they haven't been talking, or they haven't, had the relationship, that they normally had recently. He's also like split from like his wife pretty recently. So I mean, like, there's all kinds of shit going on. Why did that make you laugh?
Because I'm watching in the camera, like everybody, I see AJ's going snake eyes looking at the screen like, what was that? And then I see your reaction. So
I just see you smirking over here.
I'm trying to look at Mike's picture as he's talking because I'm used to looking at people when they talk. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not just like looking around like a fucking crackhead, my eyes darting back and forth.
Yeah, it's like he compared you to like a gecko. Like you didn't blink. You like licked your eye, to like to clean it or whatever. But I don't know. Did you guys want to elaborate on anything else that you saw from, the Mon Mothma scenes or anything? I know, oh gosh, what's her name?
The girl's name is Belle, the one that was the leader of the raid on the heist.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see, the basics or the basis of, the characters that are still around or would be around and where they're at, what they're doing at that moment, not necessarily a grander sense beyond one. Mothma, her finances are maybe going to be having some little trouble here for the Foundation because her banker is now running into some issues that he describes. So it's setting it up for Mothma having one family drama that is the same as what was going on in season 1 with her piece of shit husband. So now she's
Perrin. His name is Perrin with the man bun.
Fucking tool. So setting up more, family drama that she's trying to contend with on top of the political intrigue, on top of everything else, right? Like she's a very interesting character. And we got to see that she's, again, having trouble with the rebellion that she's financing. Luthen is on edge because he's not able to get word from Cassian. Cassian's with these rebels that don't know up from down and what the fuck's going on, and they start shooting each other. Bix is having nightmares, and there's, ICE is just landed on the planet ready to catch, who doesn't have their green card. Everybody's not in a great position, which is kind of how you got to set something up, which I appreciated overall. It's showing you at the highs. Here's everybody you want. You're like, okay, yeah, there they are again. All right, cool. They're engaged. Here's their brief. How they're doing right now, what's going on, but not too much yet. Just setting you up for what's going on for them right now. 1 year later, I'm sure it'll expound upon more as you watch further episodes. So it set everybody up. They're all on edge, which then ends leaving you on edge. Right? It ends with Cassian being dragged away. And, before that, it's Mothma.
Starting the outro music now.
Wait, I was going to say, the one character we didn't touch on was Dedra. She was in those meetings, the Imperial meetings, and I just kind of got this vibe, like, I don't know, I see her, like, flipping or something. I see her, I don't know, like, she had
seemed like her reaction was as if she was from that planet. Like, she seemed like her mouth was open as she was hearing the news, and the other older guy...
Something's going on with her.
Yeah, something seemed off because he turned to
Luca's
her.
Seen fucking all 6 episodes of Jagoff, so he kind of knows what's that. You see his face right now; he's trying to have no expression whatsoever, and so he knows what's going on in the backstory. I'm completely in the dark right now. Something weird is going to happen with her, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm reading too far into this.
I was picking up a little chemistry between her and director Krennic. Just because of the way they were talking,
the way he was talking.
That's what I was getting out of.
He was like, "I like you. I've been watching you. You made it out of a shitty situation.
A little creepy. Hold on 1 second. I got to get a charger before my laptop dies.
I like you. I've been watching you.
I mean, more or less, he was like, he was like, I saw you get out of that bad situation in Fenrix.
Yes, he's like handpicked you, for.
I wanted you to be here. You make my dick hard. That's what he said.
Yeah, she didn't speak up during the thing, and then it wasn't until she pulled him aside, or he pulled her aside. He
walked up to her when she's just like staring out the window, and she was literally mouth agape as she was hearing the news about what they were trying to accomplish. She was just like,
I wonder what's going on.
Turns and looks at her. Yeah, something weird there. You felt it.
Something's going on with her. Yeah,
I don't know which direction it's going to go.
Right. Just everybody's expressions I've been really trying to watch, and just see kind of what's going on. Did you change headphones too? Oh.
Which again, I like.
I don't need to change
everybody. I like that they had everybody essentially on edge. Shit's going down.
Because I'm picking up some of your babble.
I love the technical difficulties.
I know.
Well, we hit all the notes.
I know. So that's it. I think we covered. Everything. What else you got, Luca? Take us home.
It was an interesting episode. Not my favorite episode out of everything they've shown so far. So I was a little bit like
episode to be a favorite. It just has to set things up. It has to show you the characters. You have to understand what predicament they're in and set up that drama that's going to be taking place thereafter. So you have some idea of what's going to happen. Did it convey what's going on for each character presented? Did it convey the situation that they're in? Did it give you an idea of what's going to be coming up that they're going to have to deal with on whatever level, how many different things? And it did that. And it was visually, it was enjoyable. So I think it did exactly what it needed to do for a first episode, which a lot of shows fuck up, and they just drag the pace, and it's just annoying. They were bouncing back a lot, but I still thought the pacing was okay. And they gave you everything you needed for a first episode. And a first episode rarely is going to be like, I love this shit, Yeah,
so
they did what they needed to do.
The one dude who was missing was the very the cop guy or the detective dude,
Cyril,
who chased down, who was the one who even started the whole thing. Yeah, you don't see him at all in this episode. So I wonder when they're gonna reintroduce him. Fucking
Luca's fake. I wonder when it's gonna happen.
This is a visual medium, okay? So it's an audio visual medium. So if I
fucking worst poker face ever.
For real, when he's like,
it's like in what is the video game made by Rockstar and Team Bondi where you play as a detective in the 40s and you have to like interview or
LA
interrogate people. Yeah, LA Noir.
the game's badass.
Angry Joe, I think, had the best intro for that. Like he was dressed up like a detective and he's like, you know, interviewing and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't kill him?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then like his character's just sitting there and he's like,
Yes, the character expressions that you're supposed to read into or something in order to know.
"Yeah." He's like, "Are you sure you didn't do it last Thursday?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like making all these faces.
I love
God,
that.
that was so fucking funny. I watched that one recently.
That's that is a game that is best experienced through VR.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. But anyway, the high point for me was the scenes with Dedra, Director Krennic, and the Imperials, and then with
give it your lightsaber rating at the same time.
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. So 3 out of 5. The high points were with Luthen and Mon Mothma and
Agreed.
Bell, you know, on Chandrilla and whatnot. Mon Mothma's worst fear, or one of her worst fears, has come to fruition. Skulden, that was the kind of ginger-colored guy that met Luthen. That's like, "Hey, Luthen's here." He's like, "I got a secret. Don't, you know, whatever."
Yeah,
that was the piece of shit guy on Chandrilla that she, you know, he's like,
Gangster.
"Hey, introduce my daughter, you know, your daughter to my son." And now guess what? They're getting fucking married. So now her family is going to be united with his family, which she didn't want, but she's making it happen. And she's got this grimace on her face. Like anytime anybody can't see her, she's like just super worried look on her face, which I didn't notice on my first go around. And I noticed the second time around. So it's definitely, and then of course you had the people on the wheat planet, you know, in the Outer Rim. Their story was interesting as well. Then the low point for me was Andor with these rebel jagoffs that are all just infighting with one another. You know, they're bickering like kids. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, what is going on here? What is their angle? But I guess it's just to show like he's
this organization of where the rebellion is at this point, you know, comparative to the Imperials. So you know, that's kind of what they were doing. That's my takeaway from it. I think you know, it hurt your feelings a lot more than.
Yes, my feelings were hurt.
Feelings.
But I would
go ahead, give it how many lightsabers.
What's your rating?
Talking, goddammit. I would probably be in that same range, 3 to 4. You know, this is a great, you know, it was a good first episode. They're just kind of like setting everything up. You know, I think Andor, you know, not being able to pilot that TIE fighter and just like bouncing around everywhere. That scene was a little bit silly to me. You know, but other than that, you know, I didn't mind the, you know, the violence amongst the ranks, you know, of the rebellion. You know, these guys like legit shooting each other, you know, just to show like, you know, where they are at, you know, as far as like, you know, just the disorganization and, you know, they're super scrappy and they're just getting started. And it's just a fucking mess, you know, that they're trying to piece together and everything. But no, Luthen and Mon Mothma, those scenes, the Imperial scenes that they're like setting up and showing like how fucked up they are. Like, yeah, all of that was like really cool to me. But, you know, I think they're going to do the same thing where, you know, they're releasing 3 episodes at a time, you know, so that way they have these like 3 episode, like kind of story arc, you know, they're going to have like a climax, like every 3 episodes, kind of similar to like the last season.
Which is great for pacing.
Yeah, it was an amazing formula for like a 12 episode thing. So like 3.5, 4, something like that is kind of where I would be.
Okay, AJ, your lightsaber rating.
Yeah, I just more or less have to reiterate the same thing. I enjoy that setup for pacing. That makes it a much more enjoyable watch, whether you're binging or watching it just a few at a time, because you're getting that sort of like release to this arc. It kind of almost reminds me of anime. Like you've got this arc between this season and this season and this season. Having those going off that's good storytelling. It's not just feeling like it's dragging something out. So that's great for pacing. I like that. Same thing. Set it up well. I thought it was a pretty good first episode. Gave you where everybody was at. Again, continuing to be the most interesting stories. Luthen and the Senator Mothma, her whole political intrigue and drama at home, and just having to balance all of that. That's the most realistic and something relatable. All the other characters, they aren't like two-dimensional or anything, but they've got very obvious one-dimensional what's going on of, Cassian isn't doing anything different than he was before, just getting in trouble as he's being a rebel, it's not anything super layered there. So I'm enjoying what this first episode was. Again, mostly interested in Luthen and the Senator. But yeah, I thought it was probably about the same, 3 out of 5.
I wonder if they're going to like intertwine this with stuff that happened in Rogue One, or is it just like the setup to Rogue One, and then Rogue One kind of carries on?
I hope it finishes to right before Rogue One, because that's what I'd want to see. Like this is the preamble beforehand. I don't need to see like the random hijinks of what happened at one point before, like having some sort of continuity between this and Rogue One. When this came after Rogue One, these are the characters, many of them from Rogue One. Like, why wouldn't it be maybe preamble isn't the right word to use, but that for Rogue One, right? Like showing these characters their development beforehand, who wasn't there and died to get them to the point of where they could, everything happened in Rogue One. I hopefully, in my mind, ideally, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
I think they did say that they're only going to do season 2 of Andor, and that's it. They're not going to do any more after this.
That's what Mike was saying.
Yep. So,
well, we'll go ahead and close it out from there. Thank you again for listening. This has been the Star Wars Rewatch Podcast. My co-host AJ back with us again after not hearing from him in a while. So it's great to have you on the show, brother.
Years.
What's that?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah. Because you're right. I don't know when the last episode was that we had you on, but
it's been a hot minute
around then.
Because Lorelai's 19 months old, and it was well before then because Kelsey being pregnant and everything. So it's just, I think, a little under 2 years was the last time I was on.
Dang. Well,
I'm
happy to have you back.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm glad we got all the technical difficulties knocked out, and I'm looking forward to if we do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then,
we are working. We are working with and around you. And Mike, I thought he was going to be at home doing this, doing it remotely.
But comes and sees you in person. Gee.
Yeah. I was surprised too.
It makes everything a lot easier. So getting out here and everything.
But anyway, tell us your thoughts about the show. Send us an email at StarWarsRewatchPodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us.
I was like, what the fuck? We just told you everything about the episode.
Tweet at us, X at us, at SW
say X,
Rewatch Pod on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, call it Twitter.
We've been banned from Reddit. Make sure you I'll put the link to the Discord server as well in there. I have a channel, I don't know what it's called, on the Discord server where it's Star Wars in the Wild, where if you see Star Wars in the Wild, take a picture of it and send it to us. So far, I've captured a bunch of people's cars while I'm driving that have Star Wars stickers.
On May 4th. We filmed this on May 4th. We filmed this on May 4th. So,
yeah, we also filmed this on May 4th. So may the 4th be with you. And be prepared for Revenge of the 5th tomorrow, Monday. Revenge of the Sith. I also saw that in the theater recently because it's in theaters right now. Coming up for the May holiday. I mean, the May Holy Day, which is today.
You got to put these plugs at the beginning because people, when they tune out 10 seconds in, are not going to get this. Are not going to get this.
We're a little bit off our game today, so yes, I agree with that. Let's see. Did I forget some social media or some way to get a hold of us?
That's all right.
Comment on the YouTube Star Wars Rewatch Podcast.
Aren't going to be too concerned.
Yes. Find us on your favorite podcast app. But anyway, let me see. Oh, I got to update my
It's good
soundboard
seeing you
here.
guys.
Chewy, get us out of here. I know you guys love this.
It's been a while.
You still got the same shit.
I
Well,
like how he wants me to put copyrighted content. He's like, I need you to get that song from that artist that was in that video game. But I did put here. Hold on.
Everything in here is copyrighted that you're using.
I did record this myself from Dune, just
what we
because
should
it
do?
sounds badass. And then this is the song with the throat singing from Jedi Fallen Order. If we want to hear, listen to up to 30 seconds of it before
I got to go.
copyright pops in.
Play with your
What did you say?
soundboard another time. I got to go.
I know. We
Yes,
gotta get,
yes.
So, all right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, AJ, for working out the technical difficulties and
Love you guys.
being patient. Until next time.
Have a good one.